We come now to the point number 15.1, proposal by the Palestinian Football Association for the suspension of the Israel Football Association. Before I proposed myself to make a comment on this matter, but we have received a demand of the Palestinian Football Association because they want to amend their proposal. So before we go into the proposal, it is according to the FIFA statutes, we have to listen to amendment and vote on the amendment. So therefore, Mr. General Rajoub, President, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished brothers, my FIFA family. I am here to find a solution for a painful issue so close to the hearts of all defenders of football ethics and values, rather than to score goals even against those who are responsible for my football family is suffering. This is the third year that I address you, my colleagues. The first year, you authorized Mr. Blatter to try to solve this problem, and I think the other side did not cooperate with him. Next year, other global icon, who is Michel Platini, proposed that maybe a committee be nominated to try to solve the problem. A one-man committee was nominated and also failed. This year, I came with a proposal to suspend the Israeli Football Association, which I think is a right. But a lot of colleagues whom I respect and I appreciate their commitment to the ethics and values of the game asked me, explained to me how much it's painful for them to hear in such a family the issue of suspension. A lot, including the Vice President Issa Hayatou, Michel Platini, Prince Talal, Prince Turkey, and others. But the last one, who I think, for me, his request is a command. Mr. Tokyo, whom everybody knows. He is one of the disciples of the late great man Mandela, with whom I met Mandela years ago after I became president of football. And Mandela, in front of him, said to me, General, utilize the game to promote love, friendship, neighborhood, tolerance, rather than hatred, enmity, and vengeance. He came to me and said to me, General, drop the suspension proposal. Tens of presidents of associations from Asia, Africa, South America, North America, Europe, including the president of AFC, they said to me, General, we don't want to have a precedent that suspending an association. As I decided to drop the suspension. But it does not mean that I give up the resistance according to the statutes of FIFA. To protect the Palestinian footballers, to let them enjoy the privileges of the game as others are enjoying. I think it's the time now for you to decide. On the three issues that I raised, the first one is the movement. Inside, outside, equipment donated by friendly associations. Mr. Blatini once visited Palestine and he sent me equipment, and it was kept in the Israeli airport for 16 months, and I had to pay $32,000 as a ransom in order to release the equipment, which was 8,000 euros. I don't want to go in details. I don't want to talk about humiliation. I don't want to talk about racism and so and so and so. Dear colleagues, I want a mechanism of monitoring. You, the Congress, not the Lexico, and even not the President, with all my respect to them, because 2 years they failed. As I want a mechanism, a committee nominated to follow up what's going on the ground, the performance of the other side, and I propose a voting for this simple, clear item. The second one, the issue of racism. I think it's the time now to raise the red card for racism, humiliation, and demonstration in Palestine and everywhere. It's the time now. Third, 5 Israeli clubs participating in the official league in Israel, but they are on the Palestinian territories, internationally recognized that they are Palestinians, occupied by the Israelis. And for this, I ask you, colleagues, also to vote that this issue go to the UN to decide whether these territories are Palestinian or they are Israelis. If they are Israelis, they have the right to organize, to play football, and to enjoy the game. But if not, those clubs, all sport activities on the occupied territories should be banned. And I think this is also a right. As I do ask you, my colleagues in this Congress, please vote on those 3 issues. The issue of free movement, the statutes of FIFA is the term of reference, the issue of racism investigation, and the issue of those 5 racist clubs that should be banned to play in the Israeli official league as long as they are on the occupied Palestinian territories. And to the Israeli Federation, I would like to say, you were worried, and you have the right to, and you tried to complain here and there, and you have the right, but I think that you have to complain to your government rather than to me or to anyone else. I think you should not play some kind of plastic doctor or surgeon to try to defend and whiten the ugly face of a racist occupation. It's the time now for me and you, and I'm ready to shake hands, even to hug you, although I suffered a lot by your government. But reciprocity, mutual recognition, cooperation based on FIFA statutes. Mr. President, you last week in Palestine raised a creative idea, and I hope also all the Congress members adopt it. a joint game. I like it. I support it. But let us pave the road for that. Let us change the environment for that. Not to think that we are even worse, with all my respect, than was in South Africa, black and white. There, they wanted them slaves, but here in Palestine, they don't want us to be. We are 4.5 million. We are fans of football. This game is very popular in Palestine. What happened last year in Gaza, in spite of that, they continued the league and they are playing football. And believe me, Mr. President, I am here to play football rather than to play politics. I don't want to score goals. I want to end suffering. Once again, Mr. President, colleagues, I want you to support me. I want you to protect my people. Maybe next year, I will not be able, even maybe I will not be alive to come and address you. Please believe me that day and night I receive threats by the Israelis if I do so and so. It's the time now for you to protect your mission and your principles. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my colleagues. Looking for seeing you next year in totally a different situation in which Palestinians, like any other people, enjoying the privilege, the benefit of the game. Let us look forward and let us be optimistic. The ball is in your court, and I count on you to vote now for those 3 issues. And again, I thank those who convinced me to drop the suspension. I myself did understand the negative dimension. The Germany president also talked to me. General, no one can imagine the issue of suspension. This affected me, and for this I dropped it. But I will never drop my right to enjoy the statutes of FIFA under the umbrella of FIFA. Let us go to the UN to decide what happened in Crimea could be a precedent. Here the flag, yesterday the flag of the UN, I think the UN is the umbrella for everything and for the national legitimacy, for borders and for a lot of things. Thank you, thank you.
Gentlemen and ladies, you have listened on the amendment which has been presented by the president of the Football Association of Palestine, and he has said that the Football Association of Palestine has withdrawn now the plea for the suspension of the Israeli Football Association. This is a great movement, and with this movement, we have now we have only the problem now to find the mechanism of monitoring of the points which the President of Palestine has already mentioned. The movement of players and goods, the question of the territories, the question of racism, but he has also said that we shall have a committee, this mechanism of monitoring out of the FIFA Congress, a committee who shall have a look on the different problems which can exist or which exist between the 2 associations. So we have to make a vote on that because he has made an amendment and we have to vote on this amendment. And to clarify this amendment, I would say again, the most important is to have a committee out of the Congress, and this is a mechanism of monitoring of the movement of players, of the movement of goods, of donations, of fair play, and the territories. We shall go to a vote specifically to have a committee out of this Congress who will then deal with all the other points that he has evoked and I have just evoked, and they will decide then how to do it.
Israel requests the floor.
Huh?
Israel requests the floor.
Before the vote?
Yeah, they want immediately. They want.
No, on the vote, okay. According to the statutes, we have to vote first on the amendment before voting on the others. Unless my lawyers will tell me the contrary, but
You have to give them the floor.
Huh?
You have to give them the floor first.
Who?
Israel. You have to give
Qui a dit ça?
Marco Vidiger.
What is our lawyer? No. Bon. As there is no suspension, actually there's no more suspension in the room, and I just received a letter or a request to speak by the Israel Football, that if the Palestine Association amends their proposal, do not suspend the IFA, they would speak on that. So let them speak on that. I think this is the best vote. So Mr. Ofer Aini, you can make a comment on what you have heard.
אדוני הנשיא, חברי ההנהלה, חברות וחברים, ראשי ההתאחדויות,
colleagues, leaders of the various associations, good afternoon.
ראשית אני
First of all,
שמח שיושב ראש ההתאחדות
I am delighted that the president of the Palestinian Association has withdrawn the proposal to suspend Israel. And if the proposal, as mentioned and seen here on the screen, is the proposal that we proposed, and we consent to it, and we will support it. I don't want to point any fingers at the Palestinian side. I think that football must serve as a bridge to peace, peace that we all want. I am saying to my friend General Rajoub, let's leave it to the politicians to deal with politics. You and I together. Let's join forces and do the best football we can on both sides. I said so to you in person, and I'm saying it here again in front of everybody in this room. I want us to work together. I want us to cooperate. I want us to hug and embrace each other.
שהמחלוקות, אם יהיו,
The differences, if we
נדע
have
לפתור
any,
אותם,
we should be able to resolve
ולהקשיב
them
אחד
by
לשני,
listening to one another,
ולשמוע אחד את
by
השני.
hearing one another.
כמו שכולם פה יושבים, כולם חברים.
Everybody here in this
בתוך
room is
ארגון
sitting together
הכדורגל.
as friends in this organization
תמיד
of
יש
football.
מחלוקות בכל
There are
ארגון.
always differences of opinion. There are
אבל אם
always
מחבקים
disputes
אחד
in
את
any
השני,
organization. But if you
ואם
embrace one
מדברים,
another, and if we
אז גם
speak,
פותרים את
then
הבעיות.
we can also resolve our issues.
הצענו ועדה
We
משותפת
proposed a joint committee
של הפלסטינאים,
by the Palestinians
של הישראלים,
and the
ושל
Israelis
נציג מפיפ"א,
and a representative from
שתוכל
FIFA.
לטפל
This
בזמן
committee
אמת
can,
בבעיות.
in real time, handle
ואני
problems
מקווה
as they
שנצליח
arise.
לפתור את כל
And I
הבעיות.
hope that we are able to resolve
ואני
all the
מקווה
problems as they arise.
שהשיתוף פעולה
And I
בינינו
hope that our cooperation
יהיה התחלה
will be
של תהליך
a
שאולי
beginning of
יעשה
a
שלום בין
process
העמים.
that maybe will lead to
שאולי
peace
יקרב
between
בין
our
הלבבות,
peoples, that
והכדורגל
maybe
הוא דבר
will
מאחד,
bring our peoples together, and
ולא
football
דבר
is
מפלג.
a uniting element,
ואני
not
מקווה
a dividing element.
מקווה.
And it is my hope
שיום אחרי הקונגרס
that one day after this Congress,
נצליח לדבר בינינו,
we are able to talk
לשבת
amongst
בינינו,
ourselves, sit together,
ושבקונגרס הבא
and
נבוא
that
פה
in the next
ביחד,
Congress we will come here
ונגיד
together
לפיפ"א,
and we will be able to
אנחנו
say to
יודעים לעבוד
FIFA,
ביחד.
we know how to work
אנחנו
together.
יודעים לקדם את הכדורגל.
We know how to promote
אבל
football.
עצה אחת ודבר אחד, לא הסכמתי איתך בחדר,
There is one thing on which I
ואני לא
disagree
מסכים
with
איתך
you,
פה.
and I
ואמרתי,
disagreed with you in person and I
אסור
disagree with you here.
לערב
We must
פוליטיקה
not
עם כדורגל.
involve
כל
politics in
מחלוקת
football.
שיש בתוך פיפ"א,
Any dispute that we have
צריכה
inside
להיסגר
FIFA
בתוך פיפ"א.
must be resolved
אסור
inside
לפיפ"א
FIFA.
ליצור את התקדים
FIFA cannot create a
שהיא
precedent
פונה לגוף פוליטי
where
כמו האומות
it
המאוחדות,
addresses a political entity such as the United
שיפתור
Nations in
לנו
order
בעיות
to
בבית.
solve our in-house
גם
problems,
אם הבעיות קשות.
even if these are very
אני חושב
difficult
שכל
problems. And
בעיה
I think
ניתנת
that
לפתרון.
all problems can be
וציינת
resolved.
את החמש קבוצות
You
האלה.
mentioned these 5 teams,
בשביל
these
להבין,
5 clubs, just
רוב
to
החמש
explain,
קבוצות האלה
most of these
זה
clubs
קבוצות של ילדים.
are youth
מה, אנחנו
clubs.
רוצים לעצור ילדים?
Do we want to
אני
stop
בעד
children
שכמה
from
שיותר
playing?
ילדים בפלסטין
I want as
ישחקו,
many children in
וכמה שיותר
Palestine to
ילדים
play, and
בישראל
as many
ישחקו,
children in
ובכל
Israel to
העולם,
play, and
הרי
as
זה
many
המטרה
children all over
של
the world to
כולנו.
play. This is our joint goal here in this
ואני
room.
מאמין ומקווה
And I believe and I hope
שבעזרתו
that
של
with
נשיא
the help
פיפ"א,
of the president of
וראשי
FIFA
פיפ"א,
and the
וכולנו
leaders of
ביחד,
FIFA and all of us here together,
נעשה כדורגל
we
שמוביל
can create football
גשר לשלום.
as a bridge
הייתי
for
מאוד
peace.
רוצה,
I would
שלפני
very much
כולם
want, in front of everybody
בואו
here,
נלחץ פה יד
let
לפני
us
כולם,
shake hands here in
ונגיד,
front of
אנחנו
everybody and
מפה
say, from
יוצאים
this
לדרך
room,
חדשה.
we are launching a new road.
ואני קורא לך, קורא
I
לך
call upon
להצטרף
you
אליי לבמה,
to join me here on the
וללחוץ
podium
ידיים.
and to shake my hand. Let's shake hands.
ומאחר ואני כל כך מאמין בדרך שהצגתי
And
בה,
since I so firmly believe in this
גם אם אתה
path
לא
that
באת
I have
ללחוץ
described,
ידי-
even if you
ידי,
don't come up here and
אני
shake my hand,
מתכוון בפני כולם
I intend in front of
לבוא
everybody
ללחוץ את ידיך.
to go
תודה
and
רבה.
come to you and shake your hand. Thank you so much.
S'il vous plaît.
Donnez.
S'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît.
Please.
Nous avons eu...
Yeah, Mr.
1 second, please. 1 second. I will give you the floor, but 1 second. Just to put a little bit, again, order. First of all, the proposal has been withdrawn. So there is no question now concerning the suspension of any association. This is clear. Then the Palestinian president has made a proposal, an amendment, but the amendment was the proposal to withdraw. And here he has asked specifically for the Congress to have a committee which is a mechanism of monitoring what happened in this region. This is the one thing. With the different points, here's a vote. I have given the floor to the president of the Israeli football in order that he can answer. He has answered by thinking that is withdrawn, and he started now into a discussion that I give now the permission to the president of Palestine to answer what has been said by Mr. Aini.
Mr. Blatter, everybody, colleagues, I am ready to come and shake hands. But let us vote, make a deal. Me and you will cooperate under the umbrella of FIFA, the statutes of FIFA. Let us vote for the items, and I am ready to come and hug you in front of everybody. I have no problem to shake hands with you, okay? It's not an emotional issue. It's life or death for me, Ofer. I am ready to say let bygone be bygone, but let us vote for the items that I raised, okay? Then I'll go and say let bygone be bygone. This is the fair play, Mr. Blatter, you and Lexico. Please, vote first. Whether there is a mechanism to monitor, whether there is investigation in racism, whether we clarify with you or any, I don't know what's the legitimacy for the Israelis, and say that this territory is Palestinian or not. And that's it. I hope that my colleagues in the Congress vote on that.
Let us be realistic, and the amendment presented and your proposal, the Palestine Football Association, in the question of the movement of players and the issue of the goods and for donation. There is already existing now a proposal to have a movement which is supported by the government, both Israel. But I agree that shall be done together with the football associations. You have asked also, and this is the most important point, for a mechanism of monitoring, and this is a committee out of this Congress. And then it shall be this Congress monitoring committee, who shall have a look what will happen with the territories. It cannot be this Congress, it shall be the committee which will be there. And I think on such a proposal, we can now go for a vote for the General Assembly here, for the Congress, to adopt the proposal which was made by the Palestine Football Association. We have already the solution of the movement of players, and we will have a committee. I will even, why not propose, we have the wonderful man here who could take the lead of this committee, Mr. Tokyo Sekwale. This would be one of the possibilities, and a committee which is composed by 3 members of this Congress, and then this Congress would then go into the problems that we cannot solve today. But we can solve today the problem that the mechanism of monitoring is installed by the Congress, and the 2 federations are happy to work together to make the football a success. So who want to speak on that? Hein? No, on va voter ça maintenant. Bon. No, now we go to the vote. We go to the vote on the following proposal. I just repeat. We will have a committee out of this Congress. I even give a proposal of the President of this Congress, and they will look on all the mechanisms which exist, which are the movements of players, which are the movements of goods, and they will monitor the getting together, and they will also find a solution with whoever and whom international federations or organizations the question of territories. We here in this Football Congress, we cannot speak about the territories. So I put to the vote the proposal of the Palestine Football Federation. This is a simple majority. Secretary General, we go now to the vote.
So we go for the vote based on what the FIFA president has just said.
Qu'est-ce qu'il dit?
Que le vote.
Please give a mic.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm speaking on behalf of the Palestinian Federation. What we have made is an amendment to our initial proposal under the rules of FIFA, under the Standing Order of the Congress, concretely Article 7.2. And this amendment proposal is the one that has to be voted. It's a whole body with 3 solutions, and according to FIFA statute, the Congress has to pass the vote, either yes or no, to our new proposal, which is the amendment of the initial one. We cannot start to discuss one part of the proposal or the other. If the Congress agreed that our amendment is to be voted favorably, then the whole proposal will be accepted, and if not, the whole proposal will be rejected. That's according to FIFA statute, because we are only working under FIFA statute. We want the respect of FIFA statute, and we expect FIFA to respect the statute as much as we do. So we want the amendment to be voted now in accordance to the writing that we have presented and that the General Rajoub had explained to the whole members of this Congress, and everybody has understand exactly what we are doing. We are doing what the FIFA statute says, and we are working all the way down to respect and to support FIFA statute. According to Article 9.6, the proposal, our amendment should be voted as a whole amendment, as a whole proposal, and not be partially voted. Thank you, Mr. President.
First of all, we are not going now to open again all the discussion. The president of the Palestine Football Federation came, and with generosity, I have to say, he has withdrawn the proposal that the Palestine Football Association for the suspension for the Israeli Football Association. In the same time, he has given proposals. These are new proposals because it's the amendment. And these proposals I have now proposed to you to vote to the Congress. And these proposals, I repeat, it is this committee, the mechanism to monitor all the problems they exist concerning the movement of players, etc. And I have said that concerning the territories, this committee can also look on these territories. Therefore, the point you have just mentioned is included in the list of requirements that we are giving to this committee to have a look. And the committee, it's your proposal. We accept this, and I'm sure the Congress will accept it. And it is this committee that will have to deal with these matters. So, ladies and gentlemen, we go now for a vote of the proposal which has been made by the Palestine Football Federation. We don't vote the withdrawal because it has been withdrawn, but we vote of this mechanism. It is this multilateral monitor group to work directly under the rules of FIFA, Ethics, Legal and Discrimination Committee, and will be composed by international observers. And this committee will help the movement of freedom and the movement of players and the movement of all the different articles you have here. And I say in addition, and this committee shall deal with the matter of the Palestinian or Israeli territories, because our executive committee has already taken the decision the other day that we, FIFA, we cannot interfere into the political territories. But this committee, which you say multilateral monitor group, this can do it because they are mandated now by the Congress. And this will solve your preoccupation that it will not be dealt with. And this is then in the list of requirements of this committee that will be elected and designated by the Congress. And before the end of the Congress, we will make proposals of the composition of this committee. And now I thank you to accept that, Mr. Rajoub, and we go now to the vote. And Secretary General, we proceed now to the vote.
So we proceed to the vote. I've been asked to proceed with the vote, so we proceed to the vote. So again, I mean, you are your device, and if you agree with this proposal, you push green. If you want to abstain, is yellow, and if you are against the proposal, it's no, with the red one. So please, the vote is open. The vote is closed. %90 in favor of the amendment which have been proposed and which is representing the PFA request.
Thank you. And President Rajoub, I thank you for your generosity. And now, there's a handshake.